Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup. It was a weekend of despair for some Sky Bet League One clubs. However, it was a weekend of jubilation for others, and that is what this division is all about this season. We've got 4 selected games as per usual, looking at the games individually, breaking down the games, analysing those games and looking at some key players within them. We're going to have a look at all of the games come the end of the episode as well, looking at what it means for these clubs as we now hit 4/5 games until the end of this campaign. Let me know in the comments down below, are you happy with your team's performance? Are you happy with your team's results? Are you happy with your team's league position at this point in the season? And I want to hear from you as per usual. Some massive games we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. So we're going to start off at AFC Wimbledon. They hosted MK Dons, the winning machine MK Dons side we've seen so much of this season. Have a little look at the league table first and foremost. Still second in the league, of course, helped by Rotherham losing at home to Charlton. Still second in the league. Of course, Rotherham have got 2 games in hand on MK Dons, but MK Dons have got 2 games in hand on Wigan, of course, are top of the league. They would have liked to win yesterday, of course they would have done, because again, when you see a team like Rotherham, who they're really sort of battling for to potentially have an automatic promotion spot, winning yesterday really would have made that gap a little bit bigger, and also it would have definitely taken advantage of the slip up of Rotherham. They haven't been able to do that, unfortunately. But they got a point. They got something from it. They got more than Rotherham did ultimately, and they're still second in the league. 83 points, 3 points away from Wigan. Like I said, Wigan have got 2 games in hand on them as well. But the way that MK Dons have played this season, the philosophy that Liam Banning's implemented into this Dons side has been absolutely tremendous. And they've got this tendency to go into games and almost play their opposition off the field because of that brilliant style of play. We broke it down. We did an episode quite recently looking at MK Dons, and we know the way they like to play, keeping hold of the ball, very possession-based, very quick, very non-direct passes, but really getting in behind the opposition, breaking down and attacking in so many different ways, being very adventurous with the way they attack. And we've seen this season, all of that has come to fruition, really, seeing where they are in that league table, second in the league, a brilliant side. And although they drew yesterday, it was 3 games on the trot winning coming into this one, and an unbeaten run that's been going on for quite a while now. You can see why they are where they are, second in the league and having a brilliant campaign. Would they have wanted to make the most of Rotherham slipping up yesterday? Probably they would have done, especially when you look at where AFC Wimbledon are in the table, 22nd in the league. For Wimbledon, to be honest, it's not a bad result at all, is it? At home side, I mean, I know they are really battling at the bottom, and points is massive, especially when they are 3 points away from safety, but yesterday was a really significant result because a home draw against an MK Dons side that are playing such brilliant stuff this season and are in a brilliant place in the League One table, you take that. You do take a draw there. I believe they were leading in the game as well, so after 19 minutes, they went 1-0 up. So, they scored quite early. They got an early goal, but it was almost, we'll come on to the momentum graph in just a second. It does look like MK Dons really did then, put the, really go to second gear, if you like, maybe into third gear, but couldn't make the most of changing gears, if we're going to use that analogy the whole way through. But we look at look where AFC Wimbledon are in the table, even with a draw. Yes, that is a back-to-back draw for them now. They do need to start getting some 3 points if possible, if they are going to get themselves out of what is a quite sticky situation in the bottom 4. We'll have a look at the momentum graph here. You can see Wimbledon didn't do much really going forward, but you can sort of understand the reasoning behind that. We know the way that the MK Dons like to play. I would dread to look at the possession stats. 68% possession. First half, 63. Second half, 74% possession. And it was the second half in the 80th minute where Troy Parrott makes it 1-1. But you can see 74% of the ball in the second half, MK Dons. So dominant. We know they like having the ball. We know they're a possession-based side. And today's a prime example of it. It would have been even more of a prime example if they'd gone on and got the 3 points, because that would have been a perfect example of how MK Dons and Liam Manning like playing football, and like how he wants to install and how he likes to sort of have his philosophy, I guess, conveyed on the football pitch, and then that's what he's all about. Second half, I mean, the possession stats speak for itself. 11 total shots in total. No big chances, really. AFC Wimbledon had only the big chance of the second half, and then a big chance in the first half in which MK Dons missed. But really impressive stuff for MK Dons. We'll have a look. I mean, it's impressive for MK Dons in terms of having the ball, but making the most of the ball, it isn't as good as it has been. It hasn't been as impressive as we have seen this season. But in terms of their philosophy, you can't really argue that is what MK Dons are all about, having the ball and breaking the team down. We spoke about Liam Manning being able to breaking down the low block. It sounds as if they might have struggled yesterday with breaking down that low block. The amount of the ball they had, I imagine, with the way that Wimbledon were having to play against. You can see here a 3 at the back formation really for Wimbledon. I imagine it's almost a 5 at points in the game. And then you've got quite a narrow formation in that sense. And look at that momentum graph. The second half looks very, very MK Dons dominated. You can see here the biggest patch in the second half is when they did get their goal. But they did have a lot of moments in the second half when they maybe could have gone on and got the win. It sounds as if AFC Wimbledon hung on for their dear life in the end. But in the end, managed to get a very, very vital point. And what might prove to be a very vital point as they head in now to the end of the season, where they're still battling against relegation. Is a point enough for MK Dons' push for an automatic promotion position? We'll have to wait and see. Robin's still got a couple of games in hand on them, but either so, weren't as ruthless, weren't as clinical as we know that MK Dons can be, weren't as good in possession as we know they can be in terms of making the most of having the ball. Either way, it finishes AFC Wimbledon 1, MK Dons 1. Let's go to Gillingham, and they hosted and one of the 4 teams still in a shout for the 2 playoff places, being Wycombe Wanderers. Gillingham against Wycombe. Let's have a little look at that one. A red card for Wycombe in the end. Of course, we'll come on to that in just a second. Have a look at the league table here. For some reason, SofaScore have got 7th place to confuse everybody as a playoff place. It's not, of course it's not. It's the top 6. So Wycombe aren't in the playoffs. For some reason they've got the green circle around the 7. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But 73 points are currently sat on. The only reason why they're not in those top 6 at the moment is because of goal difference. Both Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland and Wycombe are on 73 points. Oxford on 69 points. So 4 points now away Oxford United from those other 3 clubs in contention for the top 6. Unfortunately, Oxford losing to Sunderland yesterday really, really hasn't helped their cause at all. Has it blown Oxford United's season? My match reaction for Oxford Sunderland is on the channel right now. You can watch that and you can sort of hear my live reactions for it. I'm recording this on Sunday morning. I recorded that straight after the game. You'll probably start to see a little bit of a tone change in the way I'm talking about it. Still gutted, of course. When we have a look at Wycombe, like I said, they were winning in the game yesterday. And also what I'd say is Gillingham this season, under Neil Harris especially, when he came in a few weeks ago, probably a few months ago now, there has been a turnaround. There has been a change in the way they were playing. Steve Evans with Gillingham, it wasn't a great sight to watch. I remember, I think it was his last game. They lost 7-2. I think that was actually without a manager, 7-2. I'm pretty sure that defeat was for them against Oxford. But pretty sure, what I can tell you is Neil Harris has come in and made a really, really big impact. And he's changed the way Gillingham are playing, but also getting those results. Still very, very inconsistent, but they're picking up wins with a mix of defeats, with a mix of draws. But ultimately, in a relegation battle, a mix of those results really, really can help you. Although the draw yesterday against Wycombe hasn't taken them out of that bottom 4, they're now on 38 points, which is the same as Morecambe and Fleetwood. So one of either Fleetwood, Morecambe and Gillingham will be falling into those places. Gillingham already currently sat in there. It's going to be really, really interesting. This relegation battle is really, really up for grabs, to be honest, unfortunately for those sides. Fleetwood, Morecambe, Gillingham, Wimbledon, Doncaster, Crewe. There's going to be 4 out of 4 of those teams going down. Only 2 of those sides are going to be safe. In terms of Wycombe, like I said, they would have wanted really to get a real important 3 points yesterday because, like I said, it's so tight. Sunderland getting a point, getting 3 points. Sheffield Wednesday getting a point. They would have wanted to get a little bit more than just a point out of it. But we know now under Neil Harris's Gillingham side are very, very difficult to beat. We've also seen a lot of sides against Gillingham recently quite struggle against this sort of side. Both sides forced into an early change, which is really quite interesting. Sam Vogt scores after 20 minutes, half-time, 1-0 up. You feel as though Wycombe could go on and win the game. We'll have a look at the momentum graph here. You can see, it was actually Gillingham that started the game, probably the better side. Then Wycombe had a big moment and then ended up scoring. And then a little bit even, really, until the end of the first half. Then even sort of second half, really. But Gillingham probably starting as the better side. Then Wycombe having a patch. And then it probably is all Gillingham, really, at that point. And then that's where they get their goal. So fair play to Gillingham, ultimately. They took their chances. They didn't have amazing amount of large spikes in the games going forward. However, when they did have their big spike in the second half, in the 75th minute, it was Jack Tucker who scored the goal, the defender, Jack Tucker. So really, really, really impressive for Gillingham to grab a point there, and that could be vital in their hope of staying up. As for Wycombe, and we talk about the red card, it was actually Lewis Wing, the midfielder, that got sent off in the end. Looks like a straight red card, so that seems to be just violent conduct of some sort. Actually, not violent conduct, it just is a foul, it's saying here. But either way, it finishes 1-1. Who's going to take that more? Both sides probably come away with it, especially looking at the league table. Wycombe go, it's a point, it's okay, we can sort of take that. They definitely would have hoped for more. As for Gillingham, I think that's going to be a vital point for them. I think Gillingham will definitely take the point more and in a better way than that Wycombe will. But yeah, it finishes 1-1 Gillingham against Wycombe Wanderers. A fascinating game, and it comes down again. Wycombe not really making the most of a lot of the ball. We know they don't like having the ball. They're not really a possession based side. It's probably the opposite to MK Dons. They play a very, very direct style of play. But ultimately, Gillingham, in the way that they're playing at the moment, they took their chance. They took their spike that they had. Fair play to Gillingham. They got a really, really important point in that one. Let's go to Rotherham then. Let's go to Rotherham against Charlton, because Rotherham, another slip up, unfortunately for them. Of course, they look nailed on for the title. However, let's try and find it. I've completely lost it. Where are we? We've lost the game. This is a little bit frustrating. Where's the game gone? Where has the game gone? Rotherham against Charlton. Here it is. I mean, like I said a second ago, Rotherham looked nailed on for the title. They looked absolutely nailed on for this title. Really, really in control. But it's recent form, and it's similar to Oxford, really, but in obviously different places. Oxford did it to get into the top, to try and get into the top 6, and they failed that with a bad run. Rotherham, a bad run at this point in the season, is now probably going to stop them winning the league. And that comes again down to just timing you. If you're going to have a bad run, this is not the time to do it. Not at the run-in, not at the business end. This is where everything gets decided. And when you hit a bad run now, it literally can blow up your season. It can be detrimental in what you're trying to do. And Rotherham are finding that at the moment. Back-to-back defeats for them. Not the first time a home defeat against a side much lower than them in the league table has beaten them. Shrewsbury 3-0 a few weeks ago. Charlton, both 15th and 16th place sides in League One, have beaten them at home in the last month. That's going to be a concern. Although Charlton have got definitely better players than they should be, and what it warrants, their position currently in the league table, they definitely are underachieving hugely. But however you look at it, and however you want to talk about it, you should not be beating at home. Rotherham are talking about a side that's trying to win the league, and you're losing at home 1-0. That's a real, real concern. Are they out of the title race? No, only 6 points really, and the same amount of games as Wigan, so the title race isn't completely over. I can't see, though, I honestly can't see Rotherham, I can't see Rotherham win the league now. I think it is probably Wigan's to win. I think Wigan will win the league. We look at MK Dons. 83 points at the moment, but they've got 2 games in hand on MK Dons. So, their aim now is, can they get automatic promotion places? Can they rescue an automatic promotion place? They can do with the games in hand they've got. They win both their games in hand on them MK Dons. They will be back in. They'll be back in the automatic promotion place. They'll be back in second. But again, it's not a nice place to be for Rotherham, considering where they were at the start of the season and for a majority of the campaign. See where they are now, looking at a playoff place. Although it's not the end of the world, but you got to compare it as the season goes on. It's not a great campaign for them at this point in the season, at least. I mean, it's a good campaign, don't get me wrong, but at this point in the season, and considering where they were, it's not ideal. Looking at Charlton, I don't want to dwell too much on Charlton. I've spoken about a lot of them. I did a whole video on Charlton quite recently, probably about a month ago now. And also, I mean, to be honest, whatever happened yesterday, it wasn't going to massively impact Charlton's season. They're a side that ultimately just want to see out the campaign. There was a moment when they thought they might get relegated. That certainly isn't going to happen now. They're going to be a mid-table side, only 1 point away from 12. So if they get up to 12, that'll look much better, finishing exactly mid-table. Has it been a season to forget for Charlton? Yes, it has been. Is it time for a rebuild at Charlton? Yes, of course it is. But right now, a win, I mean, they're going to just take... At the moment, Charlton are going to play the game of, let's see it game by game, let's see out the season, let's just put in a very, very good shift every game till the end of the season. They certainly have done that. That's a brilliant, brilliant win over Rotherham yesterday. In terms of the momentum graph and how the game panned out, you see the formation, both these sides, Rotherham playing the same formation as they have done for the majority of the season. Same really for Charlton. How to look at the momentum graph, ultimately, it looked like Rotherham probably had the most of the ball in an attacking sense. I mean, moments at the start of Charlton, then got a big spree of Rotherham, then a bit of Charlton, a bit of Rotherham, then a very, very minor part of Charlton, then a very, very dominant Rotherham performance from probably, say, the 35th minute until the end of the half, and the first 10 minutes of the second half, then a really big spike for Charlton, and that's when they get their goal. And then a very, very big Rotherham attack, a wave attack for quite a while, and then a minor Charlton moment. And I mean, you can see it. I'm spelling it out to you, but you can see here not many big moments for Charlton, but again, getting a really, really important win. Not that it means too much, but an important win in a sense is a massive confidence boost. It's one of those where the players are going to benefit from it in a confidence sense. It's always nice to win a game of football, whether you're fighting for something or not. But Rotherham, it's so disappointing for them, isn't it? So disappointing. It looked like they had moments. It looked like they had points in the game where they could go in and get a goal. They could be more ruthless. They could be more clinical. Well, apparently not. 55th minute, George Dobson makes it 1-0. In terms of the ball, 60% possession for Rotherham in the game, so dominant in possession, but not enough with it. In terms of big chances, one big chance, but of course it was missed. No big chance in the first half, so that means the second half is when they had that big chance. 10 shots to 9. Looks like, to be fair, in an attacking sense, they competed with each other quite well. Only one shot on target from 10 shots for Rotherham. I mean, it did not look like they were very good in front of goal. Not very clinical at all as well. Look, you got to get more on target than just 1 out of 10. You look at Charlton's 9 shots on target, less shots. Only by 1, but 5 on target. Much better for them. And that's ultimately how you're going to score a goal in this league. You've got to make sure you get them on target. Of course, you can get a smash and grab, but it's very, very unlikely. You've got to be having more shots and testing the goalkeeper more. It looks as though Rotherham really didn't do that. What does it mean for Rotherham going forward? It means now they've got to win both their games in hand to get back into the top 2. Is the title race over? Like I said, it's probably not over, but Wigan surely in the driving seat now, definitely in control. I say it's Wigan's title to lose. Interesting stuff. But Charlton, shock Rotherham, you could say. Another home defeat for Rotherham in recent weeks. Not ideal for them. It finishes Rotherham 0, Charlton Athletic 1. Finally, then, out of the top 4 games we're going to be talking about, but of course we'll have a little look at the others in overview. But we're going to go to Bolton because they hosted Sheffield Wednesday. Let's have a look at the league table first and foremost. Sheffield Wednesday 5th in the league, a draw. I mean, they've been drawing quite a few games this season. I think draws are pretty held Sheffield Wednesday back. You turn some of those draws into wins. It sounds easy. It sounds silly, really, but you turn those into wins. You hold on in games. You're a bit more ruthless. You go forward and you make the most of opportunities in the games in which you've drawn. They really, really could be much higher than 5th. They won't be complaining, I don't think, at this point, because ultimately the aim is to get in the top 6. I think they really, really are going to do it and they put themselves in a really good position to do it. Away from home, Bolton, in a run into the season. It's not a nice game at all, and it does finish with a draw. In terms of their position for a top 6 place, I think, like I said, they probably have done it. I think, not done it, let's not go over the top here, not done it, but they really are putting themselves in a very good position. They put it in their hands, which is important. They still got a game in hand on Wycombe and Oxford United, the other 2 teams, in contention for a top 6 finish. A little bit frustrating for Wycombe and Oxford because they're the 2 teams out of the top 6, and both of them don't have an extra. I mean, the other 2 teams, they're battling with Wednesday and Sunderland, have a game in hand on them. So they haven't put themselves in a best position at all there. For Wednesday, they'll certainly take it, and like I said, they're in the driving seat, if you like, in terms of having most control with an extra game having to be played. For Bolton, it was 3 draws on the trot, 61 points currently sat on. Of course, it wasn't the playoff dream back-to-back promotion to Bolton fans would have hoped for, but still a really, really big game. And like I said, you look where Bolton are mixing with the likes of Ipswich, the likes of Oxford, the Wycombe, the Sunderland, and the Wednesdays. They're definitely up there. And, you know, they've had a better season than Portsmouth and Charlton. So they're probably going to take that as well. I mean, they're unbeaten in the last 4, but like I said, 3 of them have been draws. To be honest, it was one of those Bolton jobs. Yes, they were like, can you just do us a favour? Doesn't really matter in the end because Oxford lost. But I'm sure Wycombe was saying the same. Sunderland was saying the same. Bolton, can you do us a favour? And they sort of did. They dropped 2 points for us, if you like, for a Sheffield Wednesday perspective. They did well there. In terms of, to be honest, it looked like it was a last gasp straw really for Bolton. In the end, they made the most of it. We'll have a look at the momentum graph here. It looked as though Bolton were a little bit lucky, especially in the second half when they got their goal. First half, it looked as though Sheffield Wednesday were all on top. Then Bolton had a moment, but you'd say first half, interestingly, Bolton had the biggest spike of the half, but generally across the first 45, Sheffield Wednesday definitely with more of the ball, definitely more ruthless in an attacking sense. Second half, Bolton started a little bit stronger. Looked decent for the first 10-15 minutes, and then pretty much from, I'd say the 60th minute or so, the hour mark, until the end of the game, absolutely all Sheffield Wednesday. Can they go and get a second goal? Can they go and, put the nail in the coffin and finish the game off? And then I can't even see the spike. In the 90th minute, Jordan Williams makes it 1-1. That's football for you. Absolutely football. Sounds a little bit like a robbery, you could say, especially based on that second half performance. Doesn't sound like Bolton were in control as maybe the goal or maybe the scoreline says. But either way, Jack Story's goal at 66 minutes does get cancelled out, and Jordan Williams in the end makes it 1-1. A last gasp draw for Bolton, but very, very important one for maybe not just Bolton, but for other teams fighting in the top six, along with Sheffield Wednesday. In terms of possessions, 56% possession for Bolton. So, again, over half possession for them. Looked fairly in control in the end. But when we talk about the total shots, we talk about the attacking momentum. This is where, looking at the shots, this is the moment we're talking about from the 60th minute onwards. 21 shots, 5 shots on target, 4 big chances created. 4 big chances created, 3 of them missed. They really had a chance to win the game. They really had a chance to make it 2-0. Instead, in the last minute, against the run of play, Jordan Williams makes it 1-1. There we go. Bolton Wanderers 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. That's how that game finished. Have a little roundup of the other games, of course. Portsmouth beaten against Cheltenham. Again, nothing really to play for at this point now. Portsmouth, but Cheltenham continuing to have a very, very good season, causing upsets for a lot of sides. Fair play to Cheltenham. Looks as though here, presumably got the man of the match for Portsmouth. Says a little bit about that sort of game. Burton and Plymouth Argyle 0-0 in that one. I spoke about those two, all of those. Lincoln beating Wigan. I think Wigan winning, that's the word. Wigan beating Lincoln 3-1. Very, very important result for Wigan in their title charge. Shrewsbury drawing against Ipswich 1-1. Ipswich with a red card in that one as well. Cambridge beating Morecambe. Not a good result for Morecambe in their relegation hunt or relegation avoidance. Doncaster 2, Crewe 0. Another relegation battle there, one with Doncaster prevailing. And finally, Fleetwood losing, another relegation side not having the best of games. They lose to Accrington 2-1. It looks as though Fleetwood had their moments in the game, but ultimately, genuinely, a full Accrington Stanley storming across those 90 minutes. But another late goal, suffering Fleetwood in the end. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my roundup for this week in League One. Let me know what you think of these results, and let me know your team's performance and result in the comments down below. I'll be replying and responding to all of them as per usual. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit.